Henry Ford has a very famous quote: if you think you can or you can't, both are right. So if you think, oh, I can't do this, it's too difficult, it's too hard, chances are you're instructing your mind that you're not going to be able to do it.
Welcome to the Driven Young podcast with Byron Dempsey, dedicated to educating and inspiring the younger generation around entrepreneurship and practical life skills we aren't taught in school. Created for young people who seek direction in establishing their goals and passions. This podcast provides a platform for discussing the steps taken by professionals in their field related to handling finances, making money online, starting a business, growing a network, and much more. And now your host, Byron Dempsey.
Welcome back to the Driven Young podcast. I came across today's guest online when I saw what she was doing with a new company. I really love what I saw, so I invited her on the show. Jen McCrea is committed to building a community that empowers others to step into their power, providing ways to learn and connect with like-minded people and their mentors. Jen is a speaker, author, coach, and champion of change dedicated to helping clients gain their confidence, clarity, and capabilities to live a more fulfilled life. Jen has worked heavily in the university space and was a career advisor to young students who sought guidance on what to do after school. Today we get into mindset, how to change your mindset so you focus on the positive rather than the negative. We talk about how a degree does not equal a job nowadays and what other options you can take to get your foot in the door and much more. As per usual, the full video will be uploaded to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, so check it out there. And if you enjoy this episode, make sure you share it with a friend or leave a review. Now, over to Jen. All right, Jen, welcome so much to the podcast.
Thank you, Byron.
Super excited to have you on today.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're going to be talking about some awesome stuff, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But just before we jump into all of that, love to know a little bit about you and kind of what you did after high school and what you're currently up to.
Yeah, awesome. So you can tell I have a bit of an accent. So I grew up in Ireland and I had a pretty happy childhood, but I did actually grow up through the Troubles in Northern Ireland. So I guess that maybe has impacted some of my life decisions going forward. And for those of you who don't know about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, it was where there was a conflict between the Catholics and the Protestants. And one day I got told by my parents I won't be going to primary school for a week because the hotel beside it was bombed and every window in the primary school was blown out. So that's just a little bit about kind of the primary school phase of my life. And then when I got to high school, we had the peace process in Northern Ireland. They had the ceasefire and things were much easier going forward. I decided to go to university. I studied international business management and couldn't wait to actually be independent and leave home. So I left home at 18 and I traveled across to England. So I had to fly there and I lived on campus in the halls of residence, loved it. And in my third year, I went to Austria. So I was studying German as well as business. And I actually studied in the German language in Austria for 9 months, which was pretty cool. And then I moved to Germany for 3 months and I did a marketing internship in Germany. And then I completed my final year in England.
A total of how many years?
4 years.
4 years,
yeah.
Across multiple countries.
Yeah.
How did you find the country hopping? Like, was it a learning experience for you? Like,
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So traveling is my number one passion, I've discovered. I absolutely thrive off it. I think you learn so much. So I love meeting new people. I love learning about new cultures. And just being a part of a different society can give you a really unique perspective, and you can bring that back to, your home country. And I learned so many things. I tried different foods. I tried different languages. I met incredible people who inspired me from different parts of the world. I was actually an Erasmus student. So I was on a scholarship where students from around the world were all studying together. So I got to meet, I think, probably 60 different nationalities that year.
Oh, really?
Incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you had, a whole group of different people who are all in a similar situation.
Yes.
But you're all from different countries
Yes.
and have different cultures and beliefs and everything.
Exactly, yeah.
So do you reckon, because one of the things I like to promote is traveling.
Yes.
But specifically after high school, when people are unsure of what they want to do or, what they're going to do with uni and what they're going to do with their life.
Yeah.
I think traveling is a great way to discover yourself and
100%.
help kind of get there, which is why I like to recommend the gap year. So you can, and it could be, you work for 6 months, earn money, and then you go travel for 6 months.
Yes.
And I think you'll learn more in that traveling than you would doing a lot of different degrees in some cases.
Absolutely. So certainly in the south of Ireland, it's very much recommended that once you finish school, you do a gap year. And it's exactly like you said, you can potentially do 6 months internship somewhere and get that work experience before you decide your next step. Or you literally can go traveling for the year.
Yeah.
And,
so they recommend that in Ireland.
Yes. Yeah.
So they don't really do that here. I feel like if anything, they kind of look down on it because you're going to be a year behind, or your friends who've gone to uni or anything, when really, everyone knows once you hit a certain age, it doesn't matter how old you are when you're going to uni.
Exactly.
Because you're going to be with people who are 25, you're going to be with people who are 21, and some will be 17 and 18, unlike high school where everyone's the same age.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of people will go, I don't want to take a gap year because then I'm going to be behind. But really, if you take a gap year and then you discover you want to do something, you discover what you truly are passionate about, then I would say you're ahead.
100%. So my dad actually left school at 16. He didn't have the best grades, let's just say. Had on his own hardships through childhood and lost a parent at a young age, grew up in a farm in Ireland. And he actually went to university in his 30s.
Oh,
so
really?
he really took his time, and he had become a factory manager, and his boss actually invested in his education. So he got his education paid for as well. And he was so passionate about the subject that he ended up going on to build something pretty incredible in the factory that he then ran and owned himself. So he brought over a Russian engineer and a German engineer, and they built a furnace to create the electricity for a factory that's the size of about 3 football pitches from the sawdust raw materials.
Really? Wow.
That they had.
Awesome.
So it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you go to university at 18 or in your 30s or 40s.
Awesome. So you traveled to a few different countries.
Yes.
You're having your education while you traveled, which is, in my opinion, like a win-win.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
So what are you currently up to now? What's with the business? And, this is kind of the reason I brought you on the podcast, because what you're doing with this business is kind of what I'm doing. We've got a similar target market, target audience, which are younger people, kind of younger people who are a bit confused or lost. So how's that going? What's that about?
So what inspired me to set up this business is that I feel in the education sector, both in schools and universities, we are not taught practical life skills that are necessary to thrive in life and to reach your potential and to really live the life that you want. So Awesome You Academy is about inspiring and fostering self-belief and courage and motivation to reach your potential and ignite the awesome in you. So there is a lot of studies being done on mental health, and I was actually responsible for the mental health services of a university in Sydney, and I had a team that I worked with and registered psychologists, and their appointments were going through the roof. It's just numbers are an all-time high across the board in Australia, and we need to be providing more help and more resources in order to empathize and support and really, be there for young people to ensure that they're making the right choices for them and that they feel supported and that they have a community that they can tap into as well.
Awesome. And what do you see are the biggest issues that you think young people are currently facing? So you've worked with a lot of, obviously, as we mentioned before, you've worked with a lot of younger uni people, uni students. Yes. You work with a lot of people who are kind of just finishing uni. Yes. And they kind of got my degree, now what? Because as we know, a degree does not equal job.
Correct. The degree is like a passport.
Exactly. Yeah. So the degree, it's a passport. Yeah. It doesn't mean you've still got to get there. Exactly. You've still got to go get on the plane. Yeah. You've still got to make the effort to get there, because I feel like a lot of people will go, okay, I've got my degree. Yeah. Now I've got my job. I feel like another thing people will do, this is kind of a little off topic, but they get their degree and they go, okay, I'm done learning. So they go, okay, I'm done learning. Now I'm going to go work. When really, I think you should be learning
continuously throughout your life.
Exactly. And so I feel like there's a mental thing, got my degree, I'm done learning, now I'm going to get my job. So what do you see are the biggest problems that young people like in that situation or finishing high school are facing?
The key thing for young people is mindset. It's I meet so many incredible young people on a day-to-day basis who don't have self-belief, who aren't feeling empowered to make the right choices, the right decisions. They're feeling lost, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling stressed. And Awesome You Academy is about providing those practical tools and tips and strategies to be able to make the right choices for you and to kind of understand that there's not just one box and one pathway. There's many, many, many options out there. And a lot of times you're not even aware of what you don't know.
Yes, of course.
So, yeah, but the mindset is the key one, because unless you have positive self-talk, unless you have positive, affirmations, and there's neuro-linguistic programming going on, that's how you're going to achieve what you want to achieve going forward.
And how, because I 100% agree. I know a lot. And I do feel like a lot of people will kind of see mindset and think it's like a cheesy, just like, it's those annoying people who want to be successful and stuff. But like, it's not. You've got to, look at any successful person or people you aspire to. A football player, sports player, it could be someone in business or whatever it is. They all have a really powerful mindset.
Absolutely.
So how do we help, improve or strengthen our mindset?
So I think it's about investing in yourself and seeking out the right people to help you. So I have personally, even in my early 30s, suffered from anxiety, and I've had issues of definitely feeling very low self-esteem and really unsure about what to do in my life. People who know me think that I'm just like this super happy person who has the best life ever. And to an extent, yes, but I've had to work hard to get there. Yeah. And I continuously invest in myself. I continuously seek out people who can help me improve myself.
Yeah.
I think learning is a lifelong journey. And I always love to try and, see what else I can do to improve what I can offer other people as well. So it's not just about what I can do for me, but what I can help other people with as well.
And so what is kind of investing in yourself? So I guess I kind of know what you mean, but for people out there, it's like, well, what does this mean? It's like, that's great, but how do I invest in myself? Do I go to courses? Do I go to events and stuff? Like, do I follow people on social media? Like, what is investing in yourself?
Yeah. So particularly if you're in high school, what I recommend is finding a mentor. So a mentor is someone who you can look up to, who's got your best interests at heart, and someone who can give you really awesome guidance and advice and help you through your journey of where you want to go to next. So a mentor, I think, is really, really key. It doesn't have to be someone you pay. It could be a family member. It could be, an uncle, an auntie. It could be a next door neighbor, but somebody who is in a good point in their life that you think they could help me.
Yeah.
And they would be, I'm sure, honored if you reached out to them.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, if an uncle and auntie or someone close to you, like, they would be flattered.
Exactly.
And I'm sure they'd love to help you.
Exactly right.
So it can be a bit kind of scary to ask them. It's like, oh, but I don't want to ask them. This is like a personal thing. But what does a mentor do? They like someone to check in, to talk to kind of every week sort of thing.
Exactly.
And just, how to do this. I guess, just a third party who's not your parents or your like sibling.
Yeah.
Because, you're so close to them. You'll say whatever you want to them. But if you've got a third party, it's a bit more of a, they can be a bit more strict or be a bit more honest.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so a mentor.
Yes.
What else can we do to improve our mindset?
Something that I was taught to do many, many years ago that I loved, and it definitely changed my mindset as well, is writing a gratitude journal. So no matter how tough things get, I've been in tough situations, and I have nearly died twice in my life.
Really? Wow.
So, you've got to be strong-willed to get through that. A gratitude journal is amazing. So a gratitude journal is all about, what am I grateful for today? And it can be anything from, the delicious breakfast that I had this morning, to that really nice hot shower, to I actually won an award this week at school. Anything and everything. But it can be very small. But the idea behind the gratitude journal is, if you write in this journal every single day, your mind starts to really believe and acknowledge actually the positives that are
think more
surrounding
positively.
You. Exactly.
Yeah. Because one of the things I was actually talking with a recent guest was just how negative the news is. And then we're just like, man, if you're watching the news every day, how angry or just negative your mindset must be, thinking all this awful stuff is happening, because the news normally only shows the awful stuff that is happening, and right now there's a lot of it, granted, but you can just imagine how much that just subconsciously is going into your brain versus if you do something positive like this.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people do the morning pages, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be a gratitude journal, but it's just kind of writing down those little bits of things. Yeah, awesome. That's a cool little tip.
And I do recommend limiting the amount of negative news that you're tapping into, particularly on social media as well. So I personally limit the amount of time that I will actually allow myself to.
So do I.
Yeah, so I want to be educated and informed, but only for a very, very short time each day.
Yeah. I mean, you want to know the numbers of corona or whatever, but you don't want to have to see how many people are, suffering, or what family, whatever it is.
Yes.
And the news is definitely big.
It's just a negative loop.
It's just negative. Yeah. Even social media. I mean, even often the positive stuff, like when we talk about social media, like someone will post a, really attractive photo of them at the beach or something, which is positive, but then you feel crap because you're not that's not you.
Exactly.
That's not your lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like, where is the positive stuff?
Yeah.
Well, you can actually find it in your own life, as you've just mentioned, and write it down.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So I guess that's some cool stuff around mindset. I guess for me, mindset, I watched a lot of people online and these podcasts. Yes. Like these podcasts are huge, right? I listen to that stuff, kind of improving your mindset. Yeah. I've been doing it since I was kind of in high school. Yeah. So, and it was super, like guys, I would follow certain business guys, depending what you're into. There's someone out there that you can follow. Yes. So I think that's a good way, turn your social media into something that's not just a barrage of your friends or like, you feeling crap about yourself, and try to put some more positive stuff on there. Yeah. Like following this podcast, for example. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But what else do you think we can see young people are struggling with, or what are the other topics, like procrastination, I think you mentioned. What are other topics that you like to try attack and cover? So the procrastination is a key one as well. So it's not just young people, it's adults, everyone in their entire life can suffer from procrastination. And it's, it is a pandemic. And there's certain reasons as to why we procrastinate. It's about setting maybe unrealistic goals. So the goals might be too ambitious or, too out there. Or you may not have an action plan. So you don't actually know what to do. You've got a brilliant goal in mind, but you don't know, how am I going to achieve it? What am I going to do to get there? But the key thing from lots of studies is that the number one reason why we all procrastinate is actually the mental barriers. So again, that comes back to your thoughts become your words, become your actions. And that is so important. If that's something you can think of and remember, it's your thoughts become your words, become your actions. So if you have positive words, positive thoughts, you're more likely to have positive outcomes. And this is kind of like the, what's it called? It's like affirmation or something. Exactly. So I do a lot of mantras, affirmations, things like that. Henry Ford has a very famous quote: if you think you can or you can't, both are right. Right, yeah. So whichever one you're thinking. So if you think I can't do this, it's too difficult, it's too hard, chances are you're instructing your mind that you're not going to be able to do it. I've heard other people who will like, I think, do you know Cohen Ray? Yes. He'll walk up and down and he'll be like, I can do this. I was like, I'm awesome. So he's got his own thing do that with all of the clients. Yeah. So you can say things like, I am enough, I am worthy of this. And Tony Robbins is famous for it as well. Exactly. I mean, you feel like a wanker because you're just saying, I am awesome and stuff, and you're saying it out loud. Yeah. But, to understand the mental and the psychology stuff that's going on, it can really help you. I haven't really done it much, but I know of people who do it. I teach it pretty much every day. So I teach clients about it. I make it personal to the clients, but you don't have to say it out loud every day. So in the beginning, yes, and I get them to put it on the bathroom mirror or on the bedside table so that you read it every morning and every night. And it's just tapping into your subconscious mind, these positive thoughts. But after a while, you just internalize it. So no one ever has to hear you. You don't have to say it out loud anymore. Yes. Feel embarrassed or uncomfortable. It's just such a part of your thought process. And what are your... that's awesome. And just kind of leaning onto this, if we're talking about negatives and positives and stuff and just trying to surround yourself with more positive things, like what are your thoughts on negative people and like people you're surrounded with who are constantly kind of, you might not even realize it, the negativity they're bringing. But what are your thoughts on that? Because there's a saying, it's classic, the top 5 people you surround yourself with, chances are you'll earn the same amount of money as them, or the same amount of happiness or same amount of success as those 5 people. So if you surround yourself with, more successful people, you're more likely to be successful, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I think who you surround yourself with is incredibly important. I'm somebody who gets on with pretty much everyone. However, I may limit the amount of time that I give to people who are maybe always negative, always complaining, there's always, bitching going on. I won't necessarily avoid them completely because at the end of the day, they're suffering, right? There's always a reason as to why they're negative. Yeah. So I empathize with them, but I will limit the amount of time that I spend with them. Yeah. And that's how I, deal with the negative influences. Again, coming back to the news or what you read on your feed, I very much have eliminated a lot of the negativity.
you don't have to delete, you just hide. So, it's these small steps that the other person doesn't have to even be aware of it.
Yeah, of course.
But you are protecting yourself. And it's all about self-care. I'm very big advocate for self-care because you need to protect yourself. And the only way to help anyone else is to be able to help yourself first.
Yeah, awesome. So it's just, not blocking, but because the other thing is, it's like, well, what if they are struggling and you want a positive person? Wouldn't you want to try to give as much positivity as you can to them?
And I do.
Help? Yeah.
I do. And that will always be my go-to. I will always try to help and listen. And I think listening is such a key skill. So active listening. Don't just listen for the sake of it, but actually really listen to what they're saying.
That was something I did when I was researching for starting the podcast. And I was just like, they said a lot of people when they're interviewing will, say we're talking, you'll say something. Now I've got my next question and I've just zoned out of what you're saying. I'm just waiting for you to finish so I can ask my next question.
Yes.
So I'm always trying to subconsciously be aware of that. It's like, no, you've got that question, just put it in the back of your brain, keep listening. Yeah. And if that question is still relevant, bring it up, but it might not be depending on what she says next.
Exactly right.
Which is, between
So it's about being in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So trying to be present.
Yeah. And so that was something I read a lot of people would do. And you can kind of see it. You can see people kind of like itching to get out. So they stopped listening a minute ago. They just want to answer.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guess that's quite natural, but that's a habit. So it's trying to break that habit. Yeah.
Awesome. So you've talked about procrastination. What else can we, try and improve? What you mentioned before? Mental health. No.
Yeah, I guess overcoming the mental barriers. So your thoughts become your words, become your actions.
Thoughts become your words, become your actions.
Yeah.
We've got procrastination. What other tips do you like to teach younger people around, who are entering uni or coming out of uni around, we talked about how we think, we both completely agree that a lot of the skills we're learning in school aren't really relevant. I kind of like to say, the soft skills, what they're called, which are for people out there, leadership.
Yes.
Kind of just those skills. Leadership, communication, that sort of stuff I think we should be learning, but we're not.
Yes.
What skills do you think we should be learning as younger people entering this kind of really rapidly changing workforce? Yeah,
I think other skills we should be learning is integrity, which is something that I guess a lot of young people maybe are not taught what is integrity.
I was just about to say, I kind of know what it is, but if you ask me to define it, I'd be like, oh.
It's trying to be authentic and honest and just be your true self. So not lying or avoiding things, but actually just being really upfront.
Yeah, which for the younger generation, I feel like is social media.
Exactly. You feel you've got to put on a front. You feel you have to act a certain way. And really, being true to yourself is the best.
And I feel like it's become more common to be true to yourself. Like we can see celebrities are starting to be a bit more vulnerable, and people, all the celebrities that are doing that are getting a stronger fan base because people are like, oh, you can
relate.
Yeah, they're more relatable. It's just like the reason kind of these huge TikTok stars everyone loves Charlie and these girls on TikTok because they're very relatable. It's like because 6 months ago she was no one, just like you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
No offense, but 6 months ago she had 1,000 followers. Now she's got 50 million.
Yeah.
And so just that authentic. Maybe I feel like authentic is easier to understand than integrity.
Yes, authenticity. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And other skills, I think it's about empowering young people to be able to have the opportunity to learn. So even if you are not getting a paid opportunity right now, even volunteering. So I'm a really big advocate for volunteering. I think I've done it many times and I still do it throughout my life, but the amount of skills, the soft skills that you learn through volunteering are huge. So, thinking on your feet, working with a variety of cultures and different backgrounds, leadership qualities can come through.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
so many skills to be learned through volunteering.
And that's kind of like almost like an internship as well.
Exactly.
Like how I learned was I basically got paid to learn. I feel like, I got to go to all these events for free. I helped with the events and stuff, and you learn from the events. And it doesn't matter how prepared you are, how good you were at your degree. Yeah. Once there's going to be stuff that, once you enter the real world and the workforce, that you're going to have to learn.
Exactly.
You're going to have to learn, communication, maybe dealing with clients. You're going to have to learn all that sort of stuff that you can't get taught at uni.
Yeah.
Same with being a doctor. You're going to have to learn to think on your feet, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, I personally learn from experience, I feel like. Yeah. So I'm a big advocate of that.
Me too.
Yeah, and Bryony, who we had on, who's just episode 4, she kind of built huge network of people in the creative industry, like producers and stuff, by going to events and volunteering her time. So she'd, go to any film events and say, hey, what do you guys need help with? Oh, we need someone to stack the chairs. All right, I'll stack chairs.
But you're actually getting exposure to an incredible event.
You stack chairs for an hour, and then you've got 6 hours of the event where you get to meet people, and then you stack chairs at the end of it.
Exactly.
And you've got free.
And now's the time to find out what you like and what you don't like.
Yes.
Just try anything
Taste
and
test.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, go think of like ice cream. You're taste testing your degree, taste testing where you want to go.
Yes.
Because, at 17 or even at 22, it's like most people I interview don't know what they want to do still. Yeah. And they'll say, so I'm 45. I don't know what I want to do in my life. How can a 17-year-old know what they want to do? Exactly.
And the thing is, there's no failures, really. I don't really believe in failures. You're just learning. You're just growing.
Failing is a part of, So it's every time you fail, it's like, okay, I won't do that again.
Yeah.
How can I improve from that?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think, and you, same with talk to any successful person. Successful is very subjective.
Yes.
But like they all say, I failed. I just failed.
Multiple times.
Then
Look at him, Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't even make his high school basketball team and then went on to win all of the, NBA championships. Incredible.
Basically all sports stars have the same sort of, I failed, we did this.
Yes.
But then here I am.
Yes.
I think, what does Messi say? It took me 16 years and 300 days to become an overnight success, or to become a whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So kind of you're moving on again. What else do you think young people should be aware of? Kind of, let's say for people, because you worked with a lot of university students, what do you think they should be aware of when they got their degree and they're entering the workforce?
Entering the workforce is such a big change that I feel sometimes it can be very overwhelming because it's such a new experience. But my advice is to embrace it and to be excited about it, because whatever happens next is all a learning experience, and it's all, it's part of your journey. But there are so many services available at universities, in particular the career service, that can help you. So a lot of employers will come to campus. They'll tell you all about the organization. That is very helpful to see what you like, what you maybe want to find out a bit more about. So, for example, the likes of Google might come to the university and you get to meet the Google staff and you get to talk to them, interact with them, find out what is a typical day at Google like, and make the most of those opportunities, because there are so many of them available to you. And it's just making sure that you also seek guidance and advice. So at university, there is tips on how to write a resume, how to ace an interview, all sorts of practical skills, all within the career services.
What's that? Is that like a section on the website?
It would be. So every university will have a section that you can do a search for career services.
Yeah, and so just go to your uni, have a look for career services and see all the opportunities, because probably chances are you're not taking advantage of the opportunities.
And they'll have paid work opportunities as well that you don't even know exist.
Look, unless depending on your degree and what you want to do, I think there's so many opportunities to actually get paid while you learn.
Oh, so many.
That's a win-win situation. Yeah. Go into something, find a business person you want to work for, say, hey, I'll come work for you for free. Maybe they'll pay you a few $100s a week or whatever it is, and you're going to learn so much. That's what I did.
Yeah,
and so I just think people need to, kind of get creative.
You've also got to be brave. So I'm just thinking back to when I was at university, I had completed 3 years and I had a 3-month summer that I had no idea what to do. My dad said to me, why don't you try and get some more marketing experience? And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. And I wanted to improve my German language skill. And I said to him, well, do you know anyone? Because I don't. And he said, well, our supplier, one of them is based in a countryside outside of some big city in Germany. That's all he knew. And he said, if you want, I'll reach out to them. And I said, sure. So next thing, my dad hands me this email address of someone, I have no idea who they are or where they are in Germany, and said, contact this person and see. So I felt really embarrassed, really unsure, had no idea what I was doing. Reached out to this person, said, I'm studying this degree. I would love a marketing internship. What do you recommend? Anyway,
people want to help young people.
People want to help young people so much. The best thing ever, they got back to me and said, yeah, sure, we can have you for 3 months. They gave me a company car. They picked me up at the train station. They provided an apartment for me.
Chances are they probably had a budget for it as well.
They had the budget for it. They also have kind of goals where they want to be able to give back as an organization.
Yeah.
And so, Jen, who didn't know what on earth to do, suddenly had one email address, and next thing was
Bang,
working in
there
this
you go.
incredible business in Germany.
I think it's just, I've talked about it a few times, just ask.
Yeah.
Like so many, most people won't even
Yes,
ask.
yeah.
And Steve Jobs, I've put this content out, he does a great little video where he says, where he got his first job, he just reached out to someone at a factory and he got a job there. It's like people want to help, especially if you're young and hungry.
Yeah.
And if you're not asking for money.
Yes.
But as you mentioned, big companies probably have a section, like a dedicated budget to interns and to those types of people.
Yeah.
So you're going to get paid anyway. You're going to get paid to learn.
Yep.
So it's just like such a win-win situation.
It is.
So I just think for anyone listening, I think it's so many opportunities and ways to get creative around how you can get an internship or learn just different things, as opposed to just, going on seek.com and looking for a job or waiting for someone to recruit you or whatever.
Oh, it's all about being a go-getter.
Yeah.
And it's about your attitude. So there's been studies done with high school students and university students in terms of what are the top traits that employers are looking for. And the number one trait is attitude.
100%.
Because we can train you in different skill sets, but we can't necessarily train you just like that with your attitude.
And that's why it's like, whenever you go into a job and interview, attitude is everything.
It is.
Like when I hire people, once again, I have the trainings, I've built the training systems. I have videos, courses, I've got everything to provide them to train. I don't care, as long as you've got some simple video editing techniques.
Exactly.
Then I'll take you.
Yeah.
It's all about attitude.
Yes.
And if you're going to, all that going to work.
Yeah.
And, you
should be hungry to learn.
Yeah.
I think that's a key thing.
Don't think of it as working for free. Think of it as not paying to learn, essentially.
Yeah, you're gaining so much.
You'll pay thousands of dollars a year to get a uni and learn, but you won't take a free job to learn. What kind of logic is that?
Yeah.
That's silly logic.
Yeah.
So you don't think of it as working for free.
And a lot of times I've had many students who were on a free internship who then got offered a full-time
Exactly. And
position.
internships almost always lead into, if not a job, an opportunity or something, or connections, network.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. This has been really good. So I feel like we could talk for a while.
Yeah.
But just before we wrap up, I always like to ask my guests one final question. Uh-huh. And that's, what is your number one piece of advice for the younger generation? Doesn't have to be about anything we've spoken about today. Mm-hmm. Just what would be your number one piece of advice?
Always look after you. Always take care of yourself and protect yourself in whatever way you need to protect yourself, I think is most important.
Yeah. And don't listen to other people. Just listen to yourself. Look after you.
Go with your gut instinct, your gut feeling. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Jen, for people who are interested to find out more about you and your company and what you guys do, what's the best place people can find you?
So the website, www.awesomeyouacademy.com. And we're also on the socials, Facebook and Insta.
So that's Awesome You Academy. If you just Google search it.
YOU, yep.
Yeah. So Awesome You Academy, and you'll find them and everything.
Exactly.
Jen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Baron. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
All right. If you are still here, thank you so much for listening to this entire episode. If you got some value out of it, it would mean the world to me if you left a review on iTunes or shared it with your friends or family. Otherwise, I'll be putting up videos of this episode on Instagram and Facebook. So check it out there at Byron Dempsey or at Driven Young Podcast. And I'll see you on the next one.